So these guidelines are just a set. Okay, let me go to over here. There is, yeah. So the WCAG documents explain how to make a website more accessible to people with disabilities. Okay, simple. So it is like it is a internationally recognized standards actually developed by the World Wide Web Consortium. Okay, which is basically called as W3C. Okay, so they have created this WCAG guidelines, and like whenever we create any particular website, we have to follow these guidelines so that it becomes accessible to a lot of people. What do you think? How many percent of website would be following this WCAG guidelines? Like compliant to uh, these guidelines? Any percentage in your mind? 2 to 3%, Prasenjit saying we don't even use color blindness, color contrast. Okay, okay. Any other guesses? Prasenjit is saying 2 to 3% only, which would be meeting up with these guidelines. Medhavi is saying 0.01. Yeah, we are very close to our like our guesses are. Yeah, in I would say our guesses are correct in a way. So the 2023 analysis basically revealed that 96.69 percentage of website failed to meet the WCAG standards. 96.69, that means as in percentages is right, is like maximum 2 to 3 percentage websites are only meeting the WCAG guidelines. Somebody was saying, yeah, Prasenjit was only saying like we don't even use the color blindness, color contrast. Yeah. So basically, I have another statistics over it. Like over 85% of percentage of analyzed website had a text contrast issues. Like 85% of websites. Like forget about being compliant to all the guidelines. Only the contrast problem are getting made by 15% websites only. Okay, so 85% are like what's matlab 15% of user are not 15%, as in lot of users are not able to uh, properly go through those websites as well. Okay, and same thing about alt text as well. Alt text, anybody know alt text? What is alt text? I'm trying to say alt text is basically the textual description of a particular image. Let's say as a blind person would not be able to see what the image is, right? Is not able to understand, and even the screen reader won't be able to explain the image in a way, right? Unless there is a uh, all text data written about that particular image. Yeah, it works for SEO as well, but yeah, so mostly it is used uh, for the visually impaired people to understand what the image is about. And you can say that alternative text is like a replacement of the image with the text, like explaining the image in a way. Okay, so if let's say if you are writing a blog, okay, lot of websites currently give this particular functionality. So if you're writing a blog, if you add a particular image in your blog, you can there is an option to add a alt text for that particular image. Okay, so yeah, that is the alt text. So around 33% of image lacks alt text in the website. Okay, which is basically essential feature of screen reader. Like whenever we navigate through a website, it's not only the text that we keep reading and all. The image says 1,000 words, right? And with the image only we get to understand, okay, this is about this. Okay, this particular image only we get the crux of the a particular blog or or whatever is represented on the screen in a way. Okay, so there are a lot of website actually missing this all text. Lot of website has contrast problems, and other standard guidelines are also not meeting by the website. But this is not only due to it is our responsibility also that while at least designing, we should take the contrast problem very seriously, so that at least the website or app that is designed by me does not have this particular problem. Okay. Next problem is, let's say the other, which is all text missing है, तो उसको क्या कर सकते हैं? How to add those all text and all of this, creating that particular system. That is the next step in a way, right? At least the visuals are in our hand. Okay, so we'll also see what are the uh, what are the principles of the WCAG guidelines. Okay, let's go through this presentation. Okay, natural information such as text, image, and sound, code or markup that defines structure and presentation. So this natural information is like text, image, and the sound, basically, which we design. We have a control over the text that we want to showcase in our website or app, the image that we want to showcase, or let's say even the sound that we want to add. ओके, जैसे कि अभी गूगल पे से कोई पेमेंट करते हैं, देर इज अ साउंड, राइट? फोन पे से पेमेंट करते हैं, देर इज अ साउंड. ओके, द वे दैट साउंड हैज टू डिजाइन एंड ऑल, there are also some guidelines from the WCEG. Okay, and the next part is the code. Okay, now हमने तो पूरा सही से कर लिया. We have taken care of all the text sizes, the contrast, images को भी all text दे दिया, sound भी proper कर लिया. But now when the developer is developing it, he had to write in a certain way, in a certain standard, so that the screen reader would understand in a way. Okay, we'll also see those. What I'll just tell you some of the standards from the development point of view, so we can always advocate for these things whenever such situation arises in while working. Okay, so let's see the levels of WCAG guidelines. The Web Content Accessibility Guideline 2.0 are organized into three levels of conformance. Conformance. Okay. Level A deals with the most basic web accessibility feature. Okay. Level 2 signifies the biggest and the most common barriers for disabled users. Level 3 is address the highest, more and most complex level of web accessibility. And this is how we get the certification for our website also. Okay, so if we are complying on the most of the guidelines, so we usually get this kind of a certification. Okay, so yeah, same thing is written. A is must have. All websites should have this. If these are not followed, then the website should not exist also, I would say. Okay, but there are websites that are 96% of website are not following this, compliant to this WCAG guidelines, but that are like a double A guidelines in a way. Okay, so let's see the first principle of WCAG, which is perceivable. Okay, so let's just go through this definition or the information. Information and the user interface components must be presented to user in a way they can perceive. Simple enough, right? User must be able to perceive the content. समझना आना चाहिए उसको क्या है content. Okay, content should be perceivable through sight, sound, and touch. Content should be transformable from one format into another easily. ओके, अगर साइट में नहीं है तो साउंड में होना चाहिए. जैसे कि अगर विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड है, सो ही विल रिलाई ऑन द साउंड, राइट, जो स्क्रीन रीडर बेसिकली देगा. अगर हियरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट है तो साइट में सारी चीज़ें होनी चाहिए इन अ वे. यूजुअली यू माइट हैव सीन while watching movies, if you enable the what do you call we actually, that subtitles and all, in the subtitles they usually write if there is a particular sound. Okay, or if there is a particular feeling and all of those things, they usually write this thing, because the person can be sound like having some hearing issues. He can just understand what is written when when it is in the written format. And as well as touch, yeah, vibrations and all of these are way to convey information. So for certain users, the touch would be best way to communicate certain information in a way. So that the confirm the content should be transformable from one to another. Okay. Common examples are like alt text for image, right? And captions for videos. Okay. Let's see the second one, which is operable. Okay. User interface components and navigation must be operable. Okay. Content must be navigable using various input methods. Remember, not everyone uses a mouse to operate a computer always. Some may use a keyboard or an on-screen keyboard, voice input, etc. to navigate. Online content need to be navigable by operable by these various input methods. Okay. What would be the common examples? I think like the keyboard navigability, right? अगर माउस नहीं है तो एटलीस्ट कीबोर्ड से तो वो ये करे, जैसे जस्ट आई शोड यू वॉइस ओवर व्हेन आई वाज यूजिंग टैब, इट वाज जस्ट स्विचिंग टू द नेक्स्ट ऑप्शंस. Okay, and it was giving me helping me with, if I want to select, then I have to click on control option space, so that it will get click. If I want to move to some other options, I have to use maybe control option and the navigation keys and all, so that I can basically quickly jump through the various aspect of particular image. It does not, like the blind person does not have to, let's say if we just, if you are opening this particular website and if there is a voiceover, it's not like every time he would come to Google, he will search, he would want to go through all images, videos, shopping, news, and all of this thing. He might know all of these things, right? Because he might be using the website most of the. So there are particular shortcut which takes you to the next link or the next link and such a way. Okay. The another example for operable is like for example, let's say if I'm going through this particular website and suddenly advertising का pop-up आ गया, how it would change the complete context, right? He is not able to see अगर कुछ screen पे आ रहा है and all, and suddenly the voice over takes to the focus is on the on the pop-ups and all of those things. So we have to be very careful what options to be provided when the when the user is going through voiceover features or screen reader features and all of these things. Okay, so that his navigation is not uh, like it should not be disorienting for that particular user. The next one is understandable. Simple. Information and operation of user interface must be understandable. In simple way, content must be easy to understand. Content complicated नहीं होना चाहिए. Okay. Website must use clear terms, simple instructions, and explain complex issues. Okay. It should function in a way that user understand by avoiding unusual, unexpected, or inconsistent functions. Okay. So basically talking about the example would be consistent navigation in a way, right? If like this particular tabs, let's say once you click on images, the navigation is at least consistent. It's not like images are here now. This, if you see this, this is a confusing navigation. Like I clicked on shopping and suddenly it's changed everything. Imagine a person with a voiceover, he's using these things and he was just going through those tabs and suddenly clicked on shopping and pura context ही change हो गया. Okay, so it seems like the Google is not, or this Google shopping is not compliant over here, that we can clearly see in a way, right? And the text has to be readable. If you add images and inside images, if you add text and if you haven't provided all text, then it will be very difficult in a way. I would like to show you one example. The best website for which is following the accessibility standard is the BBC news in a way. Not even Times of India. Times of India is so cruel in a way. So if you see, all of these images have the alt text. Let me start the voiceover once again. Let's just see.
Welcome to voiceover on Chrome. BBC Home Breaking News, World News, Us News, Sports, Business, Innovation, Climate, Culture, Travel, Video and Audio. Link, skip to content. Open menu, search visited. Link, image, British Broadcasting Corporate. Link, register, button, link, sign in, visited. Link, heading level 2. Headshot of John Brilliant, who is looking to the side of the camera. He has short dark hair and faint beard stubble. He is wearing a blue open-necked shirt and navy suit jacket. He is pictured in a room with painted yellow walls and a wooden bookshelf behind him. Alfred tried to control me with envelopes of cash, says ex-Harrods director. Harrods boss manipulated and controlled managers to conceal his crimes. Ex-director tells the BBC 9 hours ago. Article. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
Did you just see that it actually there is a alt text to this particular images which explain what is that particular image. Let's see this, the next one.
Link, heading level 2. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky holds a press conference after attending the European Council summit in Brussels in October. Zelensky suggests war could end if an occupied Ukraine comes under NATO, but Zelensky points out no one has yet made such an offer, and whether NATO would consider a move is doubtful. 54 minutes ago. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press link, heading level 2. Anti-government fighters celebrate in a street in Marat al-Numan in Syria's northwestern Idlib province on 30 November 2024. Live Russian strikes hit Aleppo as rebels take control. Russia launched airstrikes on Aleppo as rebel forces took control of the majority of the city. Voiceover of.
So if you carefully listen to this, for us it would be like more irritating because we are more habitual to this, but for the blind person it would be very helpful for them to having the alt image. And if you just see how he explained the image and then the link, and then he just propose, if I want to see this particular article, then what I can do in a way. So if you just got the gist of it, it is much better than the earlier website that we visited, like the Google website. And if you see the structure of the BBC website, it's so simple. Like this two options over here, then BBC and this, and there are these links, and then the article starts right away. Okay, so you can just understand, for the voiceover, the content is so simple, so uh, I would say so operable in a way. Like operable was about the navigation, right? The principle, the second principle that we saw, operable, was about the navigation. Here if you see, the navigation is so simple. There are this particular links itself. Okay, then there are these two, and there are this sign in and register, and then all these articles starts. So it is operable in a way. It was perceivable also because all text was provided for all these images. Okay, so whatever we are getting, we are able to perceive just by looking at over here. A blind person would also be able to come to that level in a way while navigating through this particular website, or seeing just this particular component in a way. Okay, even the content is understandable, right? The third option was the understandable. If you see, it is not the the text is so short and sweet. In a way, sweet in a way is like, it is just giving the gist of this particular news. It's not just throwing a lot of verbose and just telling lot more information that is not needed, right? He just need to understand what this article is talking about. So that is basically understandable. Okay, let's see the fourth one from the first three principle. First is perceivable. Simply means users must be able to perceive the content, okay, through all of his senses. Next is operable, easy to navigation. This talks about navigation only. He should be able to easily navigate. Third is understandable. The content must be easy to understand. Okay, consistent navigation होना चाहिए, readable text होना चाहिए. That is what understandable principles is. Okay, let's see the fourth one, which is called as robust. Okay, what it says, content must be robust enough that it can be interpreted reliably by a wide variety of user agents. including assistive technologies. User agents means the technologies, okay? Including assistive technologies. A website must meet recognized standards such as using a clean HTML and CSS. In simple word, the robust means the content must be compatible with assistive technologies. ओके नहीं तो स्क्रीन क्या लैपटॉप में स्क्रीन रीडर होके भी कुछ फायदा नहीं है इफ आर वेबसाइट इज नॉट रिटन इन सच अ वे दैट द स्क्रीन रीडर वुड अंडरस्टैंड राइट how to do that, let's say for html for example, if you guys know what is the html में tags आते हैं, okay, like there is h1 tags for heading 1, h2 for heading 2, h3 for heading 4, and so on, for body and all of those for uh, like assistive text and caption and वो सारी चीजें. So there are certain tags for this particular thing, but it is not the only way you can develop your website. You can just you might not have to write h1 h2 and all of those things. You can still create a text, okay. You can just write div, for example, let's go to this website, huh? So if you see, let's say we can write this p. I'm not good at writing the code basically, but usually we use these tag, right? Paragraph one, or let's not go to paragraph h1, and then we write something like this is heading, and then we basically close loop by h1, something like this, right? And when we run this, it prints heading in a big format, big text, and all of those things. Okay. So whenever the screen readers come, screen reader does not just go through the image; he actually goes through your code, right? So while he goes through that code, he understands, okay, this is the heading. Okay. Then he might say in a certain way that particular heading, and it would understand it's a heading. Okay. He might say this article heading is this, and so on. But you can develop this in this particular format also. You can just say div, you can say heading, you can write heading in a way, and maybe div close kar denge, whichever way that you get close. I'm not worried about right now. But let's say if this is also will provide the same heading and all, and then you will have the CSS written so that it will look like a heading for the visual person. But for screen reader, this might not help actually. It will just be any other text. It wouldn't be considered as a heading in a way. Okay. So what this robust principle says, like we need to use the standard tags so that it becomes screen readers or other technologies, other assistive technologies compatible to our websites. That's it. So robust is more for from the development point of view. Okay, the first three were from is are directed towards the UX UI designer. We are responsible for this uh, first three options, which is perceivable, operable, understandable. The fourth one is the developer also has to develop in certain way so that it is compatible with the assistive technologies. Okay, let's see the significance of WCAG. We know, but let's just go through this slide. Yeah, the one is the legal and regulatory compliance also. Like for the company like Amazon, okay, it's not just our motive to become most compliant to, or just to make our website reachable or understandable for more and more user, but we also get compliance, okay, legal compliance and regulatory compliance. We have to follow those compliance so that our website becomes basically usable for the for more users. So it's like the government also holds accountable to these companies for such things as well. Okay, so yeah, this is one advantage. You also becomes compliance by the legal and regulatory bodies. Okay, inclusivity and ethical consideration. Basically, this only drives to make us the government make us do these things in a way. Next one is broadening the user base. Of course, it it will have a more reachability, improving usability for everyone. Yeah, when we add such things for the blind person or the not only blind person, the we let's say the people with some disabilities, it actually benefits everyone, as in those who doesn't have any particular disability, for them also it becomes usable. And future proofing. Okay. So in future, if there is any particular technology that comes which improves the improves the experience for a particular uh, disabled person, let's say, it becomes future proofing. Because let's say if I'm developing something, some let's say VR headset, which is for the blind people, the VR headset, the manufacturer also be complying or understanding what are the current standards are there in the market, okay, based on which they will be creating their product. And if our website is already following those standards, then it becomes compatible, right? In a way that it becomes your website. If you think about this, it's like your website becoming future proof.